Robert Chen had been shopping like he always did, moving slowly through the aisles in his wheelchair, picking up only the basics he needed to get through the week. Bread, milk, a few canned items, nothing special, just the essentials of a quiet life. When he reached the checkout counter, he suddenly realized his wallet wasn't in his pocket. It was a simple mistake, the kind anyone could make, and with a gentle, apologetic voice he explained the situation to the young cashier. He told her he lived only a couple of miles away and would return in just a few minutes to pay. She smiled kindly and agreed without hesitation. But before the moment could pass, the store manager, Stephen Walsh, stepped in. His tone was sharp, cold, and dripping with authority. What should have been a simple moment of human understanding quickly twisted into something humiliating, something no one expected, especially not a man who had already sacrificed so much for his country. Stephen Walsh didn't just interrupt, he took control of the moment as if it were an opportunity to display his authority. He dismissed the cashier's kindness instantly, insisting that nothing left the store without payment. But it wasn't the refusal that stunned everyone, it was what came next. Walsh's eyes narrowed on Robert, not with concern, but with suspicion, as if the elderly veteran sitting before him was some kind of con artist. When Robert calmly explained again that he simply needed a few minutes to retrieve his wallet, the manager stepped closer and delivered a line so cruel it froze the entire checkout area. He demanded that Robert prove he was truly disabled. And when Robert, taken aback, quietly reminded him that he had lost both legs in war, Walsh didn't soften, he escalated. If Robert wanted his groceries, the manager said, he would have to crawl for them. For a moment, it felt as if time stopped. Robert looked at the manager, hoping he had misheard, hoping this was some kind of sick joke that would end any second. But Walsh just stood there, arms crossed, watching with a twisted sort of satisfaction. The store fell silent as Robert slowly lowered himself out of his wheelchair. People watched in disbelief, some covering their mouths, others frozen, unsure whether to intervene or stay out of it. The cashier begged him not to do it, but Robert, humiliated and desperate for the simplest necessities, began to drag himself forward across the cold, dirty floor. Each movement was painful, not just physically, but emotionally, as he felt the weight of every staring eye. No one dared to move, until a teenage boy stepped forward, tears in his eyes, unable to bear the sight any longer. The moment the teenager's video hit the phones of the local biker community, everything changed. What happened inside that supermarket didn't stay contained, it spread like wildfire. Tommy, one of the bikers who had witnessed it firsthand, sent the clip to his club brothers, and the reaction was immediate. Outrage. Disbelief. A deep, gut-level sense that a line had been crossed. Jake, the president of the Iron Brotherhood, saw the footage and didn't hesitate. He made one call, a call every biker understood without explanation: a veteran was in trouble. Within minutes, engines began roaring across town. 10 bikes grew to 20, then 50, until eventually a massive wave of chrome and leather rose over the horizon. By the time they reached the supermarket, 300 bikers surrounded the building, forming a silent wall of unity and strength. Justice, it seemed, had arrived on two wheels. Inside the supermarket, the atmosphere shifted the moment Jake and his riders stepped through the doors. There was no shouting, no chaos, just a heavy silence that carried more authority than any threat could. Employees stepped aside, customers backed away, and Jake walked straight toward the manager's office with a calmness that was almost unnerving. Stephen Walsh, who had been laughing just moments earlier, froze the second he saw the crowd behind Jake. With every exit blocked and every aisle filled, he had nowhere to run, not from the truth, and not from the consequences. Jake didn't raise his voice, he simply played the video, letting Walsh hear his own cruelty echo back at him. Faced with undeniable evidence and hundreds of witnesses, the manager had no choice but to step outside and apologize publicly. His job was gone, his reputation ruined, and in that same moment, the cashier who showed kindness was lifted up in his place. Justice had finally spoken. In the days that followed, something remarkable happened, something far bigger than a single confrontation inside a grocery store. Robert, who had left that supermarket broken and humiliated, suddenly found himself surrounded by a community that refused to let his story end in shame. The bikers who stood up for him didn't disappear after the apology, they became his support system, checking on him, visiting him, and treating him like family. Marcus, the brave teenager who tried to help, was welcomed as an honorary member of their brotherhood, given guidance, support, and even help with his education. And when Robert returned to the store for the first time after the incident, he didn't go alone. 300 bikers escorted him, not as protectors, but as a symbol of respect. The town saw him differently now, not just as a disabled veteran, but as a man who reminded everyone what dignity truly means. Justice had not only been served, it had been honored.